Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2 of Make War, Not Love with Joe and...
Amanda. Hi.
So, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday. God bless.
All the other happy
Everything.
tidings. Yeah, that's the
All
one thing I
together.
dislike about the New Year's. Every time you see someone for the first time, even if it's 3 months, it's like, oh, Happy New Year. It's like, oh.
Oh, no. Happy New Year forever.
So how was your Christmas holidays / New Year?
Christmas holidays were really fun. The family came together and did this really cool, we got dressed up in Christmas clothes. It was my sister's idea. It was super cute. You know, I baked. Well, I didn't really bake. I made a non-bake cheesecake.
Oh, the one where you just put the ingredients, you put in like the microwave, like 3 ingredients thing?
It's like you get, so you know the cookies, what's that cookie called? It's not Biscoff, no. Well, Biscoff is the spread. Speculoos.
Yes.
Speculoos, make the crumb. Put some egg in it, make the crumb the bottom. And then you make cheesecake, which is just like cream cheese, much stuff. You just whip it all together. And then you make the top layer. And then I added Biscoff so it can have a nice taste. And then put it in the freezer for like 8 hours. And then sprinkled some Biscoff cookies on top and everything. It was really nice.
Nice. I'm getting back into cooking as well. Like last week I made like beef stock just because I wanted to make like, you know, those home ramen videos?
Yeah.
Where someone takes like the noodles and then makes it fancy.
Yeah.
So I did like 3 times and I was just like, yeah, I haven't got the recipe right and I'm a bit of a perfectionist.
Okay.
So I have to tune it up. I'll get it perfect. When I get it perfect, I'll call you and your husband over. Then it'll be like...
No, for sure. And it was crazy. We were talking about food and I'm hungry again. And didn't I just eat?
Yes.
I just ate and I'm hungry again.
At this point, I've learned never question a pregnant woman's cravings. Just accept that it just is. There's nothing you can do about it.
Talk about food. That was Christmas. New Year's was chill. We watched like the fireworks from our bedroom, my husband and I. Like we watched Bad Boys, the last Bad Boys, and then
3, yeah.
and then like we heard screaming and stuff. We're like, okay, the fireworks are there. But prior to that, we went to church, so we did something, but not really. So that was my plans. What was yours?
Christmas, I went out with the family for dinner, which was really nice. And then New Year's, actually, the last 2 weeks, New Year's is the only time I actually went out. So I gotten tired of it. And I just went out, had fun with friends, went from one location to another, went with the boys. It was the most fun I'd had in a bit. But that's about it. It's just like the older you get, the less like emphasis you place on Christmas and New Year's. And it's more spending time with the right people and less about like the gifts and the big celebratory gestures and just like who you're with. And the older you get, the more you realize that like yesterday was the Shinsia concert. Shinsia.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Don't come for me in the comments.
Many concerts.
I haven't been to any concert, I think, in almost 4 or 5 years. I don't even remember the last concert I went to.
Yo, you didn't go to the Shansia?
No, because it's like I hit up my guys. They were like, no. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going. Even the last concert I had no interest in.
Yeah.
I came this close to going to Kendrick Lamar concert, but it was last minute and I had work.
I wasn't there. I don't think I was around. I would have gone to that.
I was a dumbass. I should have just called in sick and gone. I don't care if I got written up. I should have gone for the Kendrick Lamar concert. Like, honestly, I've made my mistake. Don't be too loyal to where you work. It is what it is. Yeah. But it's just like, yeah.
Damn. Yeah, no, there's a lot of concerts. And New Year's, how was that?
New Year's was a lot of fun because I went to this new place I'm hanging out at. The reason I don't want to mention it is because I don't want it to become crowded, but I love it. I'll tell you after.
They must sponsor us.
This must sponsor us.
If you want
But
to
I just liked it because that place never gets too crowded. If you know the place I'm talking about, you know. And afterwards we went some other places and it was chill. Like I remember last year's New Year's was just nothing but partying until like 9 a.m., waking up and then partying again. This time I woke up and I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. I remember last year, at least for the past 3 years, every year I need to show up at church, first things first. But then last year, my cousins were around, my sisters, my older siblings and stuff were around. So I was like, okay, fine. I went to church, but I was like, okay, fine. Maybe I'll do a party after the countdown. Got dressed, everything, all that. We end up going to, one of those popular clubs. Again, with the growing old thing, bro. Like, we're there. And the things that these days I don't drink as much, or I try not to. At least during that time, I wasn't drinking as much. And I don't know, halfway through, I look at everything and everyone. I look at my sister and I'm like, bruh, I think I'm going to leave. Literally, like halfway through, I just snuck out everyone is like, "Where's Amanda? Where'd she go?" I became one of those people who just, those people who just.
Yeah, by the way, whenever
And
you're
go?
trying to leave a party, that's the best thing to do. Otherwise, you're going to sit there like waiting, like you have to say bye to this person, bye to that person. Oh, no, just wait 5 more minutes. Oh, no, just 2 more shots, whatever. And then you end up leaving 45 minutes later. When you want to leave a party here in Rwanda or an event, just say bye to the person you came with
Out of
and
respect.
dip. And dip.
Go. Nah, I dipped,
Don't even
man.
bother waiting around being like, oh no, I have to say nope, just dip.
But yeah.
But before we dive into the topic, have you been watching anything interesting recently?
Sherlock Holmes,
The BBC one.
the one on Netflix, the recent like modern time Sherlock Holmes.
Well, which one? The one with Benjamin, I can't pronounce his last name, Cumberbatch.
Can I search his?
Yes, it's David Cumberbatch, the guy who played Doctor Strange.
Is it? Wait.
Or is it the one
I
in
don't know names. Hey, but the one that's on Sherlock Holmes.
Because there's 2 of them on Netflix.
The one with maybe let's see.
I think it's David Cumberbatch.
No, Benedict
Benedict. Wow.
Cumber. Yeah, tried. A for effort.
Yeah.
Yes, A for effort. Yeah, that one.
That's
I like it. I'm like it. Although I got to the 4th season and now I'm just kind of like, because I've been watching it like non-stop for the past like 2 weeks. Like just, so now I'm at the 4th season where I'm like, let me just chill a little bit. But it's really interesting. It's fun. It's nice.
I watched that one when it came out. I've probably watched it 2 or 3 times since then. Because like good shows and movies, you repeat them.
Yeah.
Just because nowadays it's not that good.
Yeah.
But I've been watching, I would recommend Netflix. You heard this one called The Rookie?
Is it the police one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually nice.
Okay, I put it on my to watch later.
It's actually good. So I alternate between The Rookie on Netflix and then Superman and Lewis on Amazon.
Okay.
So like I watch like 4 episodes and switch to the other when I'm bored.
Exactly. You can't stay on the same thing.
Yeah,
So,
Superman and Lewis, I just like how like realistic and down to earth it is.
is it a new?
It's
branch
new-ish.
of-
There's only like 4 seasons. It's basically about like Superman, his wife Lois Lane, and them having 2 boys' sons,
Oh, that's
and
kinda
them getting
interesting.
powers and stuff. So it's like very family oriented and that kind of thing. It's very like it's a feel good show.
I think I'd watch that.
It's like if you watched, did you ever watch Smallville back in the day?
Yeah.
If you like Smallville, you like this one.
Okay, that's on my next. It's not on Netflix, is it?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay, it's fine.
No, wait, can you
I'll
get
just
Netflix?
illegally download it.
Yeah, illegally. At this point, like it's just Amazon and Netflix is the only thing. I don't even pay for Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
recently started.
You know what the smart thing to do is get one of your friends to pay for Netflix. You pay, for example, Amazon, and you get another friend to pay for Apple, and then you guys share.
That is smart.
Why do you all need individual subscription, especially like with family
I just
members?
did it with family.
Family, friends, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just share it because it's like way cheaper, and sometimes streaming is better than going to the illegal sites.
It is. Also, I don't know if it's legal to say that we go on illegal sites. So
Yeah,
that's not true, guys.
But
It's lying.
yeah, it's lies, right? But onto the topic we're supposed to talk about today. Do you want to introduce it or should I? Because
let me introduce it. Oh my God, guys. Today we're going to talk about I was going to say the art of, but it's really an art. It's
that would have come
horrible.
off so bad.
So bad, forgive me. But no, it's not the art. Okay, cheating. We're going to talk about cheating. And we're not talking about it from we're not condoning it. We're not saying it's the right thing to do. We're just trying to analyze it and understand why it happens. But
Yeah,
from
we're
very
trying to go like from a scientific
Yeah.
perspective
psychological.
and evolutionary. And for the main, we're gonna have a video. It's called what's the man's name again? Mackin Murphy. He's an evolutionary psychologist, I think.
Yeah.
He has a lot of videos on Instagram and YouTube, and this one's called "Why People Cheat." We'll put it down in the description. But we want to talk about it from the perspective of, because it's such a fascinating topic, because it's one of those taboo things that we don't talk about, but everyone has seen or experienced, whether they cheated themselves or they've been cheated on. It's a universal thing that's looked down on. Let's talk about it from like a scientific, very objective point of view, where we don't say all men are trash or women are sneaky, but let's look at it objectively.
Yeah.
And have a conversation around it, basically.
Basically, like why, how did we get here? Why is it here? Why is it in our culture? And also maybe possibly, is there a way to to heal from it, I guess, or just move, like, is there a way to work around it? If there's no way to work around it, let's just analyze the topic, see what it's about, dive into it from a male perspective, from a female perspective, and the audience, feel free to engage.
Yeah, especially because of the whole Kigali We Share thing. Like, even if you don't participate in Kigali We Share, everyone has experience in one way or the other.
Yeah.
Right? Whether directly themselves or someone they were dating, or they so happen to a friend or a family member. Yeah. And it's like, that's why I always find these topics so interesting to talk about. But let's just like be objective, and let's not necessarily, for lack of a better word, talk shit about men or women. I thought maybe, Amanda, you can start with the point of view from like why women cheat, and we can go from there.
Okay. So again, I'm going based off of the science, based off of the video, and then I'll go a little bit onto my own opinions, right? So based off of the science, apparently 15.5% of women cheat from a point of revenge, right? So that means they've just had it. They're like, you know what? In this culture that we're in, men seem to have it very, easy in terms of like they can go ahead and cheat and we'll forgive them and all these things. And the anger and resentment builds. And then there's this sense of like, I want empowerment back. I want power back. So I'm going to revenge cheat. So apparently 15%. Now, this is based off of a scientific study that was done abroad. It's not a scientific study that was done here, right? So we should probably like check maybe within the comments and see. Maybe we can see how many people comment and says this is true, this is not true. Maybe it's
I think the revenge thing is very powerful because I've seen it as well just from conversations with some, like a lot of, not a lot, some women I know who are very successful but want a divorce from their husband. One of the primary drivers is because either revenge or two, the husband is, forgive my language, but an asshole. And you can always see it, right? We've all seen that woman who's like, she's good, everyone loves her, but then it turns out their husband was a giant a-hole, but he's super rich. And I think we also need to talk about the fact, like the relationship dissatisfaction.
There's also that. I was getting to that. So there's also, this is one that I can see a bit more clearly because I've heard from friends, or I've heard from people where it's like, when you're in a relationship and you feel dissatisfied in some sense, whether it's emotional attachment, whether it's sexual satisfaction and stuff like that. But I think with women, it mainly starts from like an emotional point of view. Because again, I don't want to generalize, right? So I'm going to speak from my own perspective. The minute you become distant emotionally, you're not meeting the emotional needs. In fact, that's how it even opens the door for a woman to start having a conversation with another man on an emotional point of view. Right? So, and
it's
then they
classic,
connect.
I'm here for you as a friend. You can cry your shoulder to cry on.
And then it ends
scam.
up becoming something to ride on.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. So, it starts that way. And then, there's that emotional connection that just ends up becoming okay, oops, we did it, And then I think you mentioned this a bit earlier. I feel like most of the time when women are at that stage of now cheating, because of how society really is more aggressive on the woman for cheating, it now becomes really like, if I'm cheating, that means this relationship is just about done. Like I'm ready to get out.
And then something from the same study, he was saying basically men are more likely to get forgiven for cheating while women are less likely. Because if a woman gets caught cheating, most men will be like, out.
Yeah,
right.
It hits the ego. It hits the she disrespected you. You can't be having that around. Whereas if a man cheats, and I've seen this in families where the man cheats, they're like, listen, urugo, whatever. Have you heard that expression?
Yeah, the whole you have to stay with
That's
him.
how you build. That's how they build the home, man. You just gotta stay for the kids, stay for the, stay for this, stay for the reputation, because women get more respect. Especially, I'm speaking now in terms of marriage, right? Not just relationship, but women tend to get more respect when they're married. So when you break it off because of a man's cheating, right? Although you should, literally everywhere, even in the Bible, it says, listen, the one reason you can actually separate divorce is cheating. Even biblically it's there. There's still this sense of like, society is going to condemn me and I'm going to have less respect for leaving this relationship. So, long story short, men kind of have it easier because they know even if I cheat, the woman is going to stick around. In that sense, they have it easier.
Yes, to
Whereas
a certain point, yeah.
For women, it's like if once you cheat, it's like you've really dishonored the family, and then they put even repercussions and there's actual action behind that cheating in the sense that the man will leave you.
That is true. And then one point I want to add, I think because we've all experienced this, is it's called basically, in the scientific terms, called like dual mating or like monkey branching, where before a woman leaves a relationship, she'll have her next partner lined up. And again, I'm not talking shit about women because I'm just saying something we've noticed. I think you've noticed as well, some girls just before they break up with their man, they already have Dave from accounting lined up, right? And maybe something's happened, maybe it hasn't. And it's like, I've seen that quite a lot with the different places I've lived, where before they break up, they already have the backup plan ready to go. This doesn't mean men don't do the same thing either, but then it's also, that's the one thing I've seen with women, where it would be like more common than elsewhere, where it's more of, okay, I need a backup plan before I leave, right? You know, like it goes back to the thing of, am I going to leave my job before I've lined up other interviews? It's messed up to say, again, we're not condoning or talking shit about men or women, just talking about objectively the fact of it.
I mean, maybe that's true. I think what I can agree to be true in terms of women, when we start getting dissatisfied and all these stuff, we definitely plan ahead.
Oh, yeah. Especially the dissatisfied. I think the biggest thing is the dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
Is I've never seen, okay, not never, that's the wrong word. It's rare you see a woman who's really happy in her relationship to cheat, unless she's built that way. You get what I mean? Where there's some people who just are serial cheaters, whether they're man or woman, even if they're super happy.
True. That also exists.
So it's like with women, I think it's more on the dissatisfaction, revenge, or it's time to move on from this shitty relationship into a better relationship.
And also this is from my perspective, right? I also think it's a point of weakness. I'm sorry, but it's a point of weakness because there's so many other routes that you could have taken. You know, if you're dissatisfied, yes, it's a tough conversation to have, but end that relationship. You feel me? End it rather than piling on to your sins.
But also, like, how many people like have the emotional maturity to have that kind of conversation with their partner where they're like, "Hey, babe, I love you, but our sex life is whack." Right?
I'm sorry, but
no. Let's be honest, right? Most people don't have the emotional maturity. A lot of people don't have the emotional maturity to be able to engage that conversation with their partner, and for their partner to be able to go like, "I understand where you're coming from. This is not an attack on me." Personally, it's just like something you wanted to get off your chest, but you didn't know how to say it without hurting my feelings, right? Because if you tell a man his dick is whack, our ego,
isn't it much better than stepping outside of the relationship and basically telling him his dick is whack by hooking up with someone you think is better?
Yes, it is. But the thing is also like how many men are emotionally like mature enough where their girl says, "Yo, babe, I love you, but like, can you please last more than 2 minutes?" And they'll be able to take that kindly.
I mean,
There's some guys I know who will take that very kindly. They'll be like, "You know what? I understand, whatever, right?" Then other men who are less, I don't want to say emotionally mature or don't know how to take I don't know what the right word is, but they will like flip out. You know what I mean?
And I guess that's because, again, of society. We've cushioned men so much, right? That.
But the thing also, let's not forget everything we're talking about. Again, guys, we're not trying to like bash on anyone, but it can also be easily applied to some women, and that also just applies to some men. Yeah,
absolutely. We can even flip the switches. You know, we could flip the role and talk about if a man. But then again, we'll have to get onto the topic of why men cheat.
Okay.
Right now, we're on the topic of why women cheat.
Yeah.
Right, and I gave you the science, right? And now I'm getting into my personal opinion that, okay, fine, women may cheat because of that 15.5%, because of revenge, because of the dissatisfaction, because of all this. But then there's the alternative. And I guess you can say I'm sitting on my high horse and morals and all that stuff, but whatever. Okay? Because I know it's human nature to look the other, to look, sometimes you just have a moment where you look at, oh, there's a fine man. Or sometimes you have a moment where you're just fighting with your husband, and then the next thing you know, you're just kind of like, oh, I have this one person who I could have a better conversation with. Okay, thoughts there. But then passing that threshold and stepping into the cheating zone. Now this part for me, as I am me, okay? Ladies, you can call me. You could go ahead and say I'm acting better than, but whatever. Let me act better than. But I just cannot see how I would be able to step out, right, and cheat and hurt somebody, right? Simply because I've been dissatisfied, or simply because I've something is not going right, or simply because. Because now it's one thing to deal with the dissatisfaction, I will have that hard conversation. I'd much rather have that hard conversation and be like, let me hurt you temporarily and let's have a conversation. Maybe it's going to better our sex life. Conversations sometimes better your sex life. Do you know what I'm saying? Say, I'm actually not pleased here. And do you know that, by the way, women, once you know how to please a woman, like, we are actually the most like sexual people.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Yeah. And the thing is that we're like, it's once you have a conversation and you know exactly how to discuss, you can know how to please a woman very easily. It's not that complicated. They're like, science hasn't studied women enough, so they say, oh, it's so complicated. Oh, you gotta last long. Oh, you gotta. No, it's just communicate. Once we tell you what we want, next thing you know, it's amazing. But you have to have that conversation. So I'd much rather have that conversation, right? If there's an emotional detachment to it, let me have that. If it does not work, I will say, you know what, babe, sorry, we're not working out. But I'm not going to go and hurt you, because in the end, maybe it's because I have a conscience. In the end, it's me. I'm now the cheater. You know what I'm saying? At least this is what it is for me. Doesn't mean that I can't be absolved, because, we need to give ourselves grace, but I just feel like there's so many ways you can go around this before you get to the stage of cheating.
I agree with everything you said, but I always remember that everyone is different. In the sense of, like, you can be like this, but someone else grew up in a different circumstances where so example, like, one thing that the study said, it's not always true. It said that, like, it's also partly genetic. So if, example, whether you're a man, let's say you're a man, because we're talking about women. If you're a woman and you grow up seeing all the women in your life cheat on their husbands or their boyfriends, part of that may become normal.
May become normal. Break that generational curse.
And then also part of that may be also genetic, right? Because a lot of things we get unconsciously from genetics as well. And the same thing applies to men.
Yes.
Right? So there's always that element. And then there's also the element of you made a mistake or you didn't. And this is why, like we were saying, it's very gray, black and gray. I mean, it's a lot of gray. There's no black or white. Let me give you an example. I was watching this movie the other day. It's called Thank You for Smoking. And it's about this guy who's a lobbyist for the smoking industry. And the beginning is him on a TV talk show talking to people from the people who fight for cancer. And then there's a kid who's a cancer kid. Literally, that's what they said. And he fights against all of them. And the arguments he makes, you're seeing that, wow, they make a lot of very sense. But at the same time, he still represents the cigarette industry.
So he's defending.
Yeah, he's a lobbyist for it.
Okay.
Halfway through the movie, you meet his son. And you see that he's a fantastic dad. He's always taking his son with him wherever he goes, teaching him things and whatever. And you're asking yourself, okay, this guy is a scumbag because he defends the smoking industry. But at the same time, he's still a fantastic father who's always there. So is it either or is there just a lot of gray and you can't just make one determination?
God forbid, but what if one day the son develops cancer because of all the cigarettes that have been...
That argument actually did come up in the movie. Spoilers. Later on, he ends up leaving the cigarette industry because he realizes it's bad. But at the same time, he's still the good dad. He starts lobbying for another industry. But it's just that thing of like...
And that's the thing. You can make a mistake, but then once you realize... The whole point is... I'm not saying, okay, once you're a cheater, you're always a cheater, you're a bad person, you're da-da-da-da-da. No, because you're a human being, you made a mistake. But once you realize you've made a mistake, don't let that be your identity.
True.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because once you realize it's a mistake and you just keep doing it, you just become a serial cheater. That's where I'm like, okay, I'm drawing the line on that. Because now you're just hurting people because you're a coward to have a conversation. Because you're a coward to do what? Because now we'll get to the point of the men's side, because I think there's a different perspective and a different lens on why men cheat, right? But in terms of a woman, you see, again, maybe I sound like society. I sound very much like society. I'm condemning it real hard, like saying like, yo, don't be out here doing this stuff, because, and I'm sorry if it's gonna hurt any of you,
Anyone's feelings.
But if you're a cheater, please, I'm sorry. Anyways, my point is, like, yes, we're human beings and we make mistakes, right? We make mistakes, and there's sometimes there's a huge reason why you've ended up in that mistake. I'll give you maybe one. There's some cases, like some case scenarios, where let's say, you know what, the person she's with is horrible, is abusive. She has no way out of that relationship. You know what I'm saying? There's situations like that. And then where it's like, you know, the one person she's relied on let's say she has a friend. Right? A guy friend, and she's been relying on that friend. Well, she has no other way, but then they have an emotional connection, and
one leads.
You know, like that gray area type thing. You know what I'm saying? There's also situations like that I can't just ignore. There's situations like that where I'm like, okay, you know what? I completely understand. It's because it's been really hard to get out of that relationship, and sometimes it's really hard for a woman to get out of a relationship.
It can also be hard for a man as well.
It can be.
Please continue.
Right now it's about women, but like it also can be. But there's also situations like that where it's like it's really hard financially to get out of that relationship. It's really hard emotionally. It's really hard. All these things. So the next thing you know, she's like, and I also have needs, right? And then she ends up stepping out. Okay, there is that gray area. I cannot act like it doesn't exist, right? But I'm not speaking for that. I'm speaking on the people who it's mainly because you're afraid to have that conversation. It's mainly because you want empowerment by, you know, saying, okay, even me too, I can cheat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? That's who I'm talking to. Because I'm like, now you're hurting nobody. Do you know what I'm saying? You're hurting nobody but yourself. You know, I was like, I remember there's a friend of mine in college who she was like very, how can I explain? She's such a loyal person, you know, like she always, whenever, she would always get into a relationship and a situationship. Let's not call it a relationship. She's one of those, like, you know, very naive young girls who would get into a situationship and really fall for the person, only to find out that person was just in a situationship with them and is probably hooking up with, you know, so-and-so's friend. And next thing you know, this girl says, you know what? Screw it. I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
She said, and mind you, she's really sweet, naive.
Hell haveth no fury like the scorn of an angry woman.
So this one person that she was having a thing with, she realized this guy was taking her for full. And so she said, screw it. I'm going to go hook up with your best friend.
You know, still staying on this topic of women, why women cheat, from my personal experience in especially Zambia and here in Rwanda, what I've seen is the majority of the time, you're right, is that's dissatisfaction or to revenge, where I saw a lot in Zambia, but I'm also starting to see it here in Rwanda now that I'm paying attention to it, is I would meet like the successful power couple, right? But the guy has like 2 or 3 girls on the side, and the girls, she's super low, whatever, and then she eventually finds out and everything. And after that, she starts having like a boyfriend or 2 on the side, but they still stay married. And most of the time, the reason she does is like, yeah, well, he's been doing this for the last 20 years. I'm going to do the same thing, right? And it's mostly falls into that category you were saying where it's either revenge or dissatisfaction.
Yeah, and like back to the story I was saying, I wasn't like, the whole point of that story is like she ended up hooking up with the best friend. And as soon as like she's hanging out with the best friend, the actual guy comes and steps into the room and sees the whole situation. He's like, oh shit. You know, like you would think, I remember we're having the conversation, you'd think she felt empowered, like, haha, I did that. You know, like you hurt me, so I'm gonna hurt you. But the feelings she showed were feelings of like, bro, like, this is embarrassing.
But this goes back to because she was, for lack of a better word, raised right. Because some people are not raised right, and for them, they don't feel any sense of shame or embarrassment about it.
In that moment, she felt it though, because she wasn't naturally like that.
Yeah.
She wasn't naturally a person who would step out and hook up with the guy's best friend or whatever. She saw the culture around her. She saw that, you know what? Yeah, let me be
Hell
that bad
haveth no fury.
Let me show you what it's about. Let me show you that I can. But then the minute she did that, she was like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
Like, what did I just, like, why did I do this? Like, it didn't feel as great as I thought it would feel. You know, like people romanticize. No, I don't want to say romanticize, but they popularize the fuck his best friend. It's cool.
Yeah, look at your revenge. Yeah.
Nah, man. Anyways, back to the point.
Now, it's good, important for us. I think we now move on to like why men cheat. And like based on the science,
mind you, I'm gonna be just as hard on men as I was on women. You think I was hard on women? I'm gonna be hard on men.
Oh man, no. For like based on the science and what I've seen, it's just mostly like impulsive, and also variety. Like, so with men, okay. So from the let's do the scientific from the scientific point of view, right?
Yeah.
You have twice as many female ancestors as you do have male ancestors, right? So for a long time, whenever there was a war or anything, the men get killed off first.
Okay.
If there's salvation, we're going to save the women and children,
Okay.
right? So the men who did survive had to survive because they had more offsprings. And there's that genetic element of like cheating, right? So all the men here today were the product. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Are the descent of men who had to have like multiple kids with multiple people. So there's a certain genetic element to that.
Back up. War.
Yeah, because
limited.
more you have twice as many female ancestors as you have
Okay.
male. Because men
So they
would
have
die.
options.
Right? So for evolutionary, for us men to survive, we had to try and have as many partners as possible to have as many kids with them.
Okay.
You get what I mean?
I'm trying.
Because it's all about like at the end of the day, everything we do is about having kids and reproduction, right? So we are more likely to descend from people who had to have multiple partners with multiple people in order to survive.
Okay.
So there's that thing. The other thing is for us as guys is like it's impulsivity. Like we see a really hot chick and she's like, yo, what's up? Like, yeah, what's up? And we don't think about it and then we do it and then the next day we'll feel like guilty about it.
You see how for women you have to. It's like mental math. It's like mental gymnastics. You have to go to bypass society, and then on top of that, you have to bypass your own emotional. For men, it's like impulse.
No, it's impulsivity and variety. Like, there's this old story. I forget who it was. It was one of the old U.S. presidents, and they were taken to, I think it was a chicken farm, and the chicken farmer goes, "Yeah, with this one male chicken, he can copulate with like 100 female chickens in a day."
Damn.
And the wife turns to the husband, who's the president, and goes like, "Wow, you see, you can copulate with 100 times a day." And the husband turns back is because it's 100 different partners. So with men, it's this weird variety thing, like where it's the novelty of it.
Okay, now that was back in the day when they needed to populate. Now in a society that's overpopulated, what is the excuse? Okay, well, what is the reason?
There is no logical reason, honestly. Okay. It's just like variety, impulsivity, things we can't control. What
do you think about society and society's role in why men cheat?
Society's role why men cheat? It's because, okay, first of all, I'm trying to think very carefully about how I phrase this properly. It's because, first of all, as a man, it is harder to get a woman than a woman is to get a man. Did you get me? Like, I just want to break it down, right?
Okay.
You as a woman, let's say, for example, you're single. Any guy in your DMs you can get just about. Right? Let's say there's 20 guys in your DMs. You can get just about any of them to say, by the way, you want to come over to my place?
Oh, physically.
Physically, right,
Okay,
right,
yeah.
physically, right? But then as a man, I have to put effort into this shit, right? You don't realize that I had to learn how to be funny and tell jokes. I had to work hard to get money to take you to a nice place. I had to go to the gym consistently for 3 years to be this jacked. So for us, it's harder. So then also as guys, it becomes a bit of like, it's like competition. Right? Honestly, sometimes just straight out competition. As a guy, just be like the challenge of it.
Yeah, you guys do love a challenge.
Oh, the challenge of it. Like if like every guy has been there with their boys, and it's like someone goes like, "Bro, I know 20 guys who've tried to date this girl and no one has succeeded." As a man, you have that thought in the back of your head: 20 niggas have failed. I'm gonna be the 21st one to succeed.
You want me to tell you a little secret?
Yeah.
Especially in our community here, one of the biggest advices that aunties and moms give Rwandan women is stay like mysterious. I remember growing up.
Same thing applies to guys as well.
Yeah, they were
Stay
like,
mysterious.
Stay mysterious until like stay so mysterious. You'll be the woman that people want to marry because you've been so mysterious and like they're here in this competition trying to get you.
Oh, I know girls, right? Who a whole bunch of other guys have tried getting. And other guys will just try just because they know no one else has been there. They're like, it's on like Donkey Kong. Like that competition.
That's some weird.
Bragging rights.
Yeah, I get it. So funny.
And then also just like that newness variety thing of it.
Yeah.
That variety thing is so intoxicating as a man. Like if your girl is one thing and then you see another girl who's another, you're like,
Do you think that's a social construct? Or is it like, do you think, because if you think about it, do you think it's designed by human beings? Like human beings designed this thing where they said, okay, women, be so mysterious, right? Always stay at home or always cover up or always be pure and all these things so that we can tap into this male competition instinct inside of them. Like, do you think it's been like designed by human beings, or do you think it's like just a natural?
It's a mix of biology, sociology, genetics, all these things, right? Because I know men who come from very caring homes, but you know, they still have fun on the side, right? And I also know men who like grew up with whether they saw like their mom get their heart broken by their dad and they're super loyal. And I know men who break all those rules. Yeah. That's the thing why I always say it's so gray, right? Like you can meet a man who maybe is a serial cheater, but I can trust him 1,000%. But I know a man who's 100% loyal that I wouldn't trust $1 or leave alone with my woman. This is why I say this topic is so great, but yet so fascinating to me about this thing cheating, because it's like, it's forbidden. We're not supposed to talk about it. We've all experienced it. Like the thing I always say, right? If you've been in more than 2 relationships or 2 sexual relationships, whatever, you have cheated and have been cheated on.
Or have been.
Yeah, you have cheated on that person or have been cheated on, right? Because either maybe once you were younger, you were dating the wrong person, you're immature, you reacted to a situation the wrong way. You probably should have left that person, but you didn't because you were afraid by being by yourself. All these hosts of reasons.
Okay, what is your personal opinion on cheating?
Again, it's gray. It's so gray. Because again, I've seen all this stuff, like the different men and women who do this. Where, let me give you an example. You can meet a man or woman who serially cheats on someone, but the next person that they date, they're 100% loyal to.
Okay.
You get what I mean? It's so gray. There's no black and white.
Okay. I mean, I would have to disagree, but that's an opinion, and you're allowed to have it. I think, and especially like given.
And then the other thing also, this is gonna sound messed up. I think this also applies to women, but men can also do it much, much better. Is a man can love one woman and fuck another woman and have no moral feelings towards her. May feel guilty about cheating, but they have like, okay, yeah, I fucked her, so what? But then they'll bend over backwards for that girl.
But how, unless it's been approved by the woman in the marriage, because you know there's some open marriages. And by the way, if you guys have talked about it, and you know, okay, my man has his impulses, and that's okay. That's a personal conversation in your marriage, and no one can judge that. But then let's say the woman, you guys have not had this conversation, and you step out of your marriage or you step out of your relationship and stuff, and you're saying it's respectful because that one is just for emotional.
Okay, let me give you the perfect example. I had 2 friends in Zambia. Both of their dads were very successful men. One was a chieftain, one was in politics. And they go, when the dad died, she was like, both of them were girls, right? There was these 2 boys who came out of nowhere, and my mom was crying in a corner, and the boys come introduce them to themselves, like, hey, were your father's other kids? And I was like, wait, what? It's like, yeah,
repeat?
They're the dad's other kids. And I asked her, like, wait, so your dad had other kids? Like, I always knew it, but now I got confirmation. I'm like, wow, shit, I'm so sorry for him. Like, yeah, it is what it is. And then I asked them, like, how do you feel about it? And both girls were like, at least he was respectful enough to make sure my mother never found out until he died. I know it's messed up. I'm not condoning it. The other girl, her dad was a chieftain. Same thing. The dad dies at the funeral. I think it was one boy and one girl come up and they introduce themselves to the girl because both of them were the oldest. They're like, "Oh, you're with your dad's other kids, yada yada." And I asked them, "Hey, how do you feel about that, dude? It's messed up. I'm so pissed off of my dad. I have a relationship with now those boys, but he was respectful enough to make sure my mother never found out about it." And as messed up as it is to say, I was like, "Yeah, I get what he means."
I guess it's the, what do they call it? Better of lesser evil? Or
Yeah, the less of two evils.
Yeah.
But again, culturally, Zambia is a bit different from Rwanda. So I'm not going to say apples to apples, but it's that whole thing of like making sure like he was respectful enough to make sure the mother never found out. But at the same time, I also know other ones where it's like the mother knew the whole time the nigga was stepping out like consistently, but she just didn't give a shit.
Yeah, it's wild to me. It's wild to me. Because I know even in our culture, you know, our grandparents, yeah, the thing is, especially with men, it was much easier for them to step out because even culturally speaking, I would need to consort or talk to our historians to really fully understand. But I know of a few stories where it was so culturally acceptable for the man to step out. I guess you can give the reason of he was the one who went and provided for, and he had his impulses and all these thingies, and the woman was very submissive, and you know there's this very like disempowering relationship where one is like it's unequal, where the woman is very submissive and had to accept what was happening because the man is providing, right? So it was much more acceptable for male behavior because they were the ones in charge. You know, when those in charge are the ones who set the rules, and if the rules are here, then you accept it. If it was the other way around, with women being in charge or being the majority or being in power, maybe society would be very different, right? So a lot of things, because society is mainly, especially during that time, was mainly ruled by men and their decisions, their impulses had more leeway.
Yeah.
So our grandparents would even accommodate these things, or they would say, "Hey, you know what? I'm not able to have as many kids, so go ahead and have another kid with this person," or you know, like it was very open and all that. And then they would say, "Oh, go," like that's where those kinds of sayings came from. They're like, you know, you just have to let your man be because he's the one who provides, he's the one who, all that. And then now you go to our parents' generation. Our parents' generation, they brought in that kind of culture as well, but the difference is now women have been empowered.
There was empowerment.
There was an empowerment, but what was unfortunate is that it's just the next generation. So the culture is still so deeply embedded, right? That even in weddings, I think we've had this conversation before, but before doing your bachelorette or whatever, the type of advice they give women is very like, be submissive to the man, be da 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 whatever. So our parents' generation, they heard that. Our moms heard, be submissive, but at the same time also going to the workforce, also have the same thing as men.
Let's come back to that workforce after you finish your story.
Like, also be like a man, but act like a woman type thing, like be submissive as a woman. So now you have very, very unfair advantage where it's like, not only am I providing as well, right? But I'm still allowing for this to happen in my home. You know what I'm saying? Now, they may have accepted because in their culture, during that time, there's really no voice. Women did not have, they tried to have a voice, but not as much. Now in this generation, yes, we're able to go into the workforce, but we have more of a voice.
Yep.
Right? And so that's where it goes into the space of like, now women are revenge cheating. That's where we got to this point, because it's like, okay, y'all.
Yeah, the women
really don't want to hear us. We've gone through, like, I have step sisters, the brothers, da 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 da. Like, I've gone through all this. You know what? If you guys don't want to stop it, we're gonna go ahead and do it. There's that, right? But there's also it's starting to become a bit less tolerated. You know, a bit less tolerated. It's still somewhat common, right? Although I've seen some men. Honestly, I have to give a kudos to some Rwandan men who are now becoming more loyal, who are now seeing from their parents. All right, I've met some good guys. I've met some good guys. There are
few of us.
There are few. They are Kalito.
Remember, black men don't cheat.
I wish that was the truth. But then there's still a majority of that. But now women are stepping up and they're saying, you can't do this. You can't have your cake and eat it too. type of vibe. And the culture, unfortunately, what's so weird is in every generation, they package it in a different way. In our grandparents' generation, they're the providers, be the submissive woman. In our parents' generation, listen, that's how it's always been. Now in this generation, in Kigali we share.
And then I think this is part of the next conversation where we move into a lot of the gray zone, where we talked about this before, where, example, not all women, some women will get married because it's the only way for them to leave the house, right? Because they can't move out by themselves. So get married to the first person. And sometimes I think that's also one reason that's behind the high divorce rate is that they married the wrong person because it was too quick and whatever.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I'm 30. How old are you again? Old, okay. I forgot you can't ask a woman's age. I'm 30, but it's like also where you get to a certain point in life where you feel the pressure to get married and you may cave and marry the wrong person. So it becomes easier to justify cheating on them because you're not physically, emotionally, or spiritually happy.
Sorry, can you repeat that sentence? I kind of had a blank moment. Sorry.
Where it's like, because you married the wrong person, because you fell under pressure, whether it's because of the age or because, pardon me, or because as a woman you have to move out. It's the only way for you to move out. Yeah. So you end up marrying the wrong person because of social pressure, whatever that social pressure is. Yeah. And I think that's one big component of this whole high divorce rate in Rwanda, is because some of us were getting married to the wrong person, either because A, you're a woman, it's the only way to move out, or B, because you reached a certain age and you were expected to get married and you got married to the wrong person because you were rushing it and you did not take your time to get to know the person. The other great part is, based on this whole discussion we're having on cheating, part of the study, something they acknowledge is that also the stories we tell ourselves is where if you're part of the survey and they ask you, why did you cheat on this person? And you may go like, well, he was neglecting me. That may be the story you tell yourself, but then later on you have you are more emotionally mature and you go like, actually, he wasn't neglecting me. I just didn't know how to set boundaries or tell him what I wanted. So the things that way is like the lies we tell ourselves to justify the things we do.
Yes.
Right?
That's what I was saying earlier. Like you say this, but the reality is you just did not have the guts. Do you know what I'm saying? Like what I was saying earlier about like, yeah, it could be 15.5% because of revenge or all these different things. But the reality is you just did not have the strength to have that tough conversation. You did not have because at some point, each individual man or woman has to have, you have to take responsibility of your actions and why you ended up stepping up. But carry on.
So there's that gray area of the story we tell ourselves. And then the other gray area is, oh no, I just had an ADHD moment. Wow.
It's okay.
It's not as complicated as it seems, but at the same time, it can also be simple, black and white. This is where I'm going to need you to jump in because I'm having a real ADHD moment.
It's fine. I was going to say that like, in terms of, can we state certain truths? Right? Certain truths, especially in our society.
In our culture.
In our culture. The truth of the matter is, men, when they cheat, it's become so common that it's no longer, how can I say, it's no longer surprising. It's even forgivable. Do you know what I'm saying? It's people have labeled it in Kigali we share. What do you expect? You know, I've seen in comment sections, you know, like, this your Twitter. You know, like
Stay off Twitter.
You're really honestly.
Best mental health decision I made last year, staying off Twitter.
Honestly. But like there are times where like, let's say a celebrity, like they found out that the man cheated or whatever. And then they'll blame the woman. Or they blame, they're like, what did you expect? Like, don't you know that this is how it's done? Like, you know those types of comments where they just come at you and they're like, hello, like, were you born yesterday? Like, it's become so normalized, but yet also at the same time, people are frustrated by it. Like people are, they're like, why is this still a thing? Like, why are we still out here cheating? So there's that one truth, right? Another truth is, yes, women are starting to step into that in Kigali we share game. Okay, I've seen it. I'm not gonna stand here and act like it's not happening. my
Yeah, I've seen it
ladies.
too.
Like they're stepping into that game, whether it's for revenge, whether it's for whatever, whether it's for even like generational pain. You know, seeing what happened at home, and you're like, you know, I'm tired of this type of thing. It's stepping into that. Now, there's my personal truth. Is this helpful or hurtful to the community? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's starting to get to a point where, like, marriages or relationships, people are starting to, like, marry outside of the culture.
Oh yeah, that's another big thing. It's
Like, they're saying
nowadays,
I'm tired. They're saying I don't, like, I whenever I hear people talk about being in a relationship, I can't marry around these girls. I can't marry around these men.
like when I look around, example, like a lot of women in my life who are like cousins and whatever, because they're very much like you grew up outside, very well educated and everything. They're like, yeah, I don't think I could be with a Randy's man. Not all of them, right? But then the same thing applies to also Randy's man as well. It's like, I'm tired of this shit. I'm going to marry some girl from outside, right? But this whole divorce thing, it's so complicated. It's not black and white. I think part of it is that whole social pressure to get married and have kids. Like there's that joke I always say, like a woman hit 25, find Jesus or Allah, and then start going to church religiously. 2 years later, they're married, right? I say that jokingly, but every time I said that in like personal conversation, be like, someone will be like, oh yeah, that happened to me. Or oh, I know someone that happened to, right? But even this guy, it happens. Like you hit 30, you're like, shit, all my friends are getting married. Maybe it's time for me to settle down, right? There's that social pressure of it. And then the other one is I think it's very hard for us as a society to have a conversation where you can go tell your significant other, hey, babe, I love you, but we need to spice things up.
I think that conversation needs to start happening, okay? Yes, it's hard to have, but I think we need to normalize conversations like that.
Tough, yeah.
I'm sorry, but, and the thing is, once you cross that threshold of having that tough conversation, women, once you realize that you do have a voice in bed, you can say what you want, what you need. Men, once you realize that like women speaking to you and telling you what they desire actually means they care.
Yeah, any man knows that technically women are bigger freaks than us. It's just that they're better hiding it than we are.
Yeah, and also we've just been told don't be that much of a freak.
Yeah.
Like, what? So, but men, once you realize that like a woman telling you what she wants means she's actually fighting for the relationship. She's actually, you know what I'm saying? And vice versa. And y'all could end up having this, I think, can step us into a new realm of like getting away from the cheating and into like the actually having a healthy relationship. Because I'm sorry, but we cannot for so long give the excuse of it's hard.
And then also, what do you think of the idea of like monogamy is a societal thing and we're naturally predispositioned to want to step out for whatever reason? Whether it's on this study or other people I've seen, it's pretty common like after maybe 30, 40 years where maybe it's time for the couple to separate or to invite someone else or to open it up. And I find this very interesting because there was this interview I saw with a woman who was, she was a madame. And she goes, I have saved marriages because their husbands cheated on their wives with me. And I know this sounds weird, right? But let me finish, right? The lady was basically like, I knew a guy. He literally paid me once to fuck him. And then after that, he went back to his wife because he realized stepping out is not what he wanted. He just thought he wanted something to spice it up.
Okay.
You get what I mean? Right? So she was basically like, yeah, a lot of guys will do it once and then realize, no, actually, I love my wife and I'm never going to do this again. Right? And the same thing for women. Maybe they do it once. They're like, oh, no, I don't want this. I love my husband. I'm going back. I'm never going to tell him.
Or if they're just going back because of the guilt. Guilt
Yes,
is a strong thing too.
Yeah, guilt is a hell of a drug. But also it's this thing of like, are we really monogamous or are we just socially monogamous? Does it take like
I think evolution. The reason I'm going to say this, like you said, in the past there might have been a time where polyamorous or polygamy, right, may have had space to exist. In today's world, given the economy, right, I don't know how you're willing to pay for 5 women unless you.
Hey guys, we're back. We just had a bit of technical difficulties, but we're just wrapping up the conversation. You're talking about like from point of evolution, it used to be once upon once upon a time justified, but in the 21st century, is it still justified to be able to cheat and get away with it?
Yeah.
And I just have this like one story to wrap up with. It's a question to the audience. There was this couple. The guy was like 98 and she was like 92. And at that age, he found out that she once upon a time cheated on him back in 1961 when they were 30. And he divorced her.
In that old age?
Yes. And he was like, you betrayed my trust. It's like, hey, babe, it was really once. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to say it because this might break up the relationship. So my question to you guys goes, if you had been together when you were 90 and you find out your significant other cheated once, back when they were 30, and they gave you the justification of that, I didn't want to break us up and it was a mistake, and you believe them because you know and trust them, would you still break up with them? What would you do?
That's a very good question.
I think it goes back to this whole thing, like cheating is not black and white. Because there's moments where, quote unquote, justified, like the revenge thing, or you're dissatisfied. But then also there's moments of like, yeah, I was just drunk and impulsive. Like, why did I do that?
You know, I don't know if this is a room to answer that at least from my perspective, real quickly. In relationships, right, they usually say that it's not what you suspect that ends up breaking the relationship. People think, yes, cheating can break up the relationship, but sometimes people don't leave, right? But it's actually not being seen. That's one of the biggest reasons for divorce and separation. It's that emotional disconnect. So if by the time you're 98, 99, 90, whatever, right? I feel like for me, if I felt throughout the relationship, I felt seen, I felt heard. It was just a moment of he fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, okay, 70-30 rule. 70% of the relationship has gone well so far. 30% of it, no one is perfect, fine. But if I felt that, okay, 70% of this relationship has been going south, right? But I stuck around because the kids, I stuck around because of this. And then you come and you tell me, hey, one time, a long time ago, I'll be like, thank you for giving me the key.
That not being seen thing, I think it's when, for example, like as a man, you're not appreciated for what you're doing, right? Because sometimes we'll talk about this next week. As a man, you feel like you do all this hard work for your wife and your children and you don't get the things that you deserve. And as a woman, you're not appreciated, right? He doesn't say, hey, beautiful, I love your new hair, I love your new dress, small things like
listening
that.
And,
It's that thing of not being seen and understood. I think is maybe the biggest crux. But I think it goes back to the thing of cheating is a fascinating topic because everyone has experienced it in one way or the other. It's never black. Sometimes it's black and white, but the majority of the time there's a lot of gray. So guys, have a conversation with your significant other, your friends, your family. What do you think about this title of is cheating okay? Is it natural? Is it biology? Kigali we share. And see you next week.
See you next week. Also just
comment, like, subscribe, share.
Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you're thinking.
Peace.
Bye.